question to you is, when is saturated fat not saturated fat? We've been told for decades that saturated fat is going to clog up our arteries and kill us. And all along, we've been driven down the path of low fat and higher carbs and counting calories, and people still got sick, people got fat. In fact, fatter than ever before. And yet we're still told by the medical authorities in most Western countries, there are exceptions like Sweden, which is a little more enlightened than us, that saturated fat is bad. You see, when you look at fat, it's not just fat. It's not just saturated fat. You can divide fat up, because in most of the saturated fats, like in meat and chicken and so forth, there's varying percentages. I'm not going to get all nerdy on you here, but roughly half of that or more is not saturated fat. It's unsaturated fat. In fact, most of it behaves just like olive oil. And so when you look at the amount of fat that you're eating, it's not all saturated. You can say, well, half of that is unsaturated, and that's healthy. And so I'm assuming you're not just sitting down to a plate of lard, but you might be having some meat with some fat on it, some chicken with a bit of skin. Well, half of that or more is not considered even to be a bad fat. And even a cursory Google search will show you that this is the fact. But what about the rest, the saturated fat part? Well, saturated fat, it does end up into our fat cells. But it can also come out of our fat cells and be used as energy. But the thing that keeps it there is the fact we eat too many carbohydrates. All the sugars, anything that converts to glucose in the bloodstream. Because while we've got that ready source of fuel, like pine on a fire, we don't need to get the hardwoods out to keep the fire burning it for longer. So that fat stays locked away. But if we stop eating the carbs, that fat's released and we burn it. No more problem. In fact, the low carb, high fat eating has been around since 1892. And it's been very successfully studied. So the key to weight loss is actually fat. Not the absence of it, but the right amount of fats at the right time. As long as you're not feeding yourself sugar. Sugar truly is your enemy. My name's Ian Newton. You can come to my website, roadmaptovibrant.health.com, and you can get a completely free low carb diet. And if you'd like some help, if you need help, it's what I do on a day-to-day basis. I help people lose weight, regain their energy, have less pain, and think more clearly, and age more successfully. Thank you.